All right, there she is, all wrapped up, strapped up, ready to get back to the shop. Look at that, they even cleaned up the oil pan. Look at that, that's pretty cool. That's something else I won't have to do. Anyway, so that's ready to go home. And since we got bored out 30 over, we had to get new forged pistons. And these are the original pistons right here. I guess those are just keepsakes at this point, so we'll see what happens. Precision Automotive. Let's get back to the shop. Alright, let's get this thing squared away. Need to get this engine up on this stand. Need to get it up away from the floor because the timing cover is not on it, and there's basically an open hole going into the motor. Down there it's going to be dusty, so we're going to cure that. We're going to get this motor up on the stand, and I just want to get that timing cover loosely placed over there to cover up that dust gap. And it's going to take a couple of weeks for the top end kit to come in. So we need to keep the dust out of it between now and then. By the way, here in the southeast, we're having a double brood of locusts. Not locusts, cicadas. And if you hear the background noise, the constant reverberating noise, that's those critters out in the woods. So, not sure you can hear that on the camera, but anyway, that's what's going on down here. My next shop upgrade is going to be one of those air-powered things to run this thing. This is a pain. Hey, you know those car shows where you see the guys and the engine just sort of magically appears on the engine stand? You know, what would be really funny is if I needed to pull the boom out a little farther and start completely over. That would be hilarious. Oh shit, fire. Pardon me, a little poo just came out. Man, look at that. I think we nailed the angle of the dangle. That snap ring is really kind of a joke. All right, we got all the weight on the engine stand now. What we're gonna do now? Oh yeah, okay, let's take the bolts out of the, where's my wrench? Here it is. He doesn't know whether he's coming or going. That engine stand look taller? I guess I don't know, probably not. plastic got hung up in my bolt here. Note to self, do not scratch cylinder walls with scissors. Let's see what that does. Oh, come on. I tell you what, that plastic there is tough stuff. Nice engine. Got a gap there where the timing cover would normally go. Really, all I want to do is put the timing cover on. All right, let's go ahead and flip this thing over. Careful. You got to get away from them if you don't pay attention. That's a little bit of oil in there. That's really what I wanted to see. I wanted to see how much oil was in this engine as a, you know, a rust preventative, flash rust preventative, while we wait on the parts to come in and put it together. Yesterday I ordered the top end kit, and today I ordered the new oil pump screen, pickup screen, and the intermediate shaft. I ordered a better shaft. It doesn't have that little nylon thing on it, you know. If you don't know, that small block came with a nylon kind of a spacer deal that connected the intermediate shaft to the pump. Like, they last. How they last, I don't know, but everybody always throws them out because you don't want plastic in your engine. So anyway, by the way, the machine shop painted my oil pan there. Got a little oil there in the pan, in the bottom, and a tiny amount of flash rust. So I just really wanted to see, you know, what I could see here. He's got paint marks on everything. He's got arrows pointing, you know, this, like, he's an arrow on that piston pointing that way, you know. He's got marks on everything he tightened down. Marks on every bolt. So all that looks good to me. We got 30 over, this block was bored 30 over, and we got 30 over forged pistons. The crank was polished, and they went through the crank, you know. They didn't, you know, jack it or anything like that. That stuff wasn't needed. What was needed was to refresh the cylinders. Got all new bearings, clearly, you know, all over the place, so. And the price was good. I had to wait a little while, but that's all right. I'm all right with that. So, really what I wanted to do, and this won't make, and this will, where the hell did I put it? There it is, over there. And really the only thing this is gonna do is make me feel better. You know what I mean? Just a little, you know, just a little something. It's like watering plants. I should talk to it maybe. Gonna be a happy little engine now. Gonna be fruitful and make all the horsepower. So when we when we fire this thing up, we're gonna run break-in oil for sure, you know. Get down in that wrist pin. Ah, that's good enough. Didn't need to do any of that anyway, but oh well, it don't matter. He painted the block gray. Sure enough, he painted the engine gray. He painted the engine and the oil pan with a nice gray color. It's probably maybe that's an engine primer. What do you think? Let's put this timing cover on here. Cam bearing got some oil on it. That looks good. It's gonna take a couple of weeks before I get these parts in here. I just don't want to make sure, you know, I want to make sure stuff ain't gonna rust on me, you know what I'm saying? So this timing cover is not gonna be used because the roller top end kit that I bought is going to come with its own timing cover, because the new roller camshaft has got a button in it, and it has to, you know, the camshaft's got to have room to walk, well, not walk actually. It's got a button in it to keep the camshaft from walking out of the block. Anyway, so you can use this cover, but you got to buy a cam button. But the kit I'm getting has got everything I could possibly need. Well, not everything. Didn't have an oil pump because I didn't buy, that's for the bottom end. Anyway, But it's got everything I need to convert my Gen 1 Chevy small block to a roller valve train setup. It's called a retrofit kit, if you didn't know. I'm sure you engine guys probably already knew all about that. All right, but I'm not an engine guy, and I had to educate myself on that. Before we put this thing back together completely and permanently, this oil pan will either one, get replaced, or two, get cleaned up inside and get rid of some of this flash rust here. So, all right, that makes me feel better. Now the only hole I got to worry about is that little one right there and the oil filter. I could just go ahead and lightly screw an oil filter in up there. And that would be my dust cover without any oil in it, of course. I think I might actually have an oil filter that fits this engine in my cabinet up there. So I had debated upon whether or not to paint this engine before the final assembly, and now that I see that he's got a coat of gray paint on there, I ain't gonna worry about it. I'll just paint it whenever we put the whole thing together. All right, I don't have an oil filter. I'm gonna go ahead and run up to the parts house and grab one. All right, I'm gonna go get a filter. I'll be back here in a few minutes. So over the last couple of days, I have been tweaking the tailgate because, well, it's a junkyard piece and it's a little crooked. So I had a little whoop-de-doo down here. This corner had been pulled out. I think it took a shot and pushed this part in, and this was poked out. So I took the tailgate off, got it on some sawhorses, and I worked at it with a 2x4 and a hammer and got that straightened out. Plus, I removed the hinge from the blue tailgate because the hinge from this one was a little messed up, and now we've got a tailgate that kind of works like butter. And you can see the blue hinge down there. Of course, all that'll get painted. And had 3-hole self-tappers, one here, here, and here. I sanded all that down and filled that in with some weld and sanded that down and got some primer on it. So that's nice and smooth now. And I'm just going to do it real slow like. Click, click. Works perfectly. It just closes like butter. So nice. Anyway, I think this is going to work out really well. I've got to put a new circle thingy on that. This is just a stick-on chrome piece. Probably just buy the whole latch. They're pretty cheap on LMC trucks or GM Parts Giant. And bought a DA. Going to get after this with some 180 probably. And then the 320. And we'll start prepping this thing up this weekend. So more on that here just shortly. All right, we're back. I'm going to switch gears here for a bit. And going to try to start getting this tailgate ready. It's going to probably take another week or so before the paint comes in from paintscratch.com. In the meantime, I've got some leftover primer from Paint Scratch. I've also got some self-etching stuff. What I'd like to do is get some of the prep work done before the paint gets here. My goal, this dent right here that you can't see in the camera. It's a little bitty grocery store dent, but I look down from this way and I look down from that way and look in from that way. Basically, that little bitty ding has an impact, hell, 4 or 5 inches wide, you know? It's just depressed. So, kind of like me on a dreary day. I'm not a body man, so if you're gonna watch this and learn how to do body work, then just look away. It's gonna be okay though. We're gonna take this down to bare metal with 80 grit within my circle of influence here. And then from there, we'll break out the body filler. We're gonna go with Evercoat, but we need to take it down to the bare metal before we apply the filler. So that's what we're gonna do. And no, this is not a DA, it's a random orbital, but I'm taking it down to the metal, so I think it'll be okay for this. This is 80 grit. I've got a DA in the shop there. I just didn't have an 80 grit that fitted, so I'm just going with what I got. So anyway. All right, so when we get ready to feather it, I'll do the feathering with the 180 on the DA, so that'll look a lot nicer when I'm done. I got to get in here by hand to get that paint out of the center of that thing right there, so let me get after that. Okay, I picked up this Baxter branded DA from Harbor Freight. I have no idea, you know. I turned it on earlier and it worked fine, so I guess it's good to go. And all I'm going to do now is smooth this out a little bit and feather this out, and that'll get us ready for our body filler. So. All right. Finally got myself a proper air gun. All the others I had around here broke, so I got that from the the parts house. How about that? All right, we got ourselves some Duplicolor grease and wax remover. That smells like soap. Surface preparation is a critical step in any quality painting project. Duplicolor simplifies blah blah blah. Take a clean lint-free cloth and a generous amount. In other words, use a lot. Wipe it down. After a minute, wipe the surface with another. The makers of dry lint-free cloths must be making a mint. I wonder what's really in this stuff other than the smell good stuff. I'll have to look up the specific material data sheet and find out. It smells pretty good. I guess it's water-based. Hell, I don't know. I would have thought it would have some alcohol and some acetone in there. So there's a couple of different Duplicolor wax and grease removers. The one I did not choose, the regular one, has acetone, soybean oil, okay, that's a surfactant, methanol, benzene, yeah, hopefully it has very little of that, formaldehyde, and acetaldehyde. So if we go and look at which I didn't notice at O'Reilly, this says soy-based solvent blend. This is quart, soy, it has soy there. If I look at the CPIC document, page not found, that's pretty awesome, don't you think? What are you trying to hide there, Duplicolor? I'm gonna go over it again. Looks pretty clean. I'm not entirely sure I trust that cleaner. All right, we're going to see what kind of damage we can do here. We're going to use the sheet from the filler can. I think we're going to use the center circle there. That one's too small, and that one's too big, and that one's just right, in my mind. I could be completely wrong. So we're going to give that a shot. And you know, if I was a professional, I'd be able to just look at it and, you know, gauge it properly, but I'm not, so I'm not. Now, this is Evercoat Pro Grade Premium Filler. So, you know, whatever that means. It's got that good body shop smell. I kind of like it, but you know, whatever. I don't have much working room here, do I? I guess you just let it self-level out to the boundary of the mixing circle. Is that the way you do it? Sounds good to me. Touch more. I think we're good. I thought about removing the tailgate, and then I said to myself, just, you know, get it done. Supposed to scoop it up and then mash it flat. Get all the air bubbles out of it. Air bubbles are bad. I should have got a bigger, this is going to be a mess. I should have got a bigger, I think we're about ready. Well, that was worthless. I put too much hardener in it. Gonna have to try again. All right, it's after 5 o'clock. I'm tired. I should have known better to start this at the end of the day. But it can wait until tomorrow. So, put a little primer over there to avoid the flash rust. I'll come back in here tomorrow with the DA, take that down, smooth it back out. I'll clean it again. I'll mix the filler properly. And then we'll start anew. So we'll see you guys tomorrow morning. All right, I got different tools. I'm gonna mix up less stuff today. And I'm gonna go with less hardener. I'm gonna go with that. Let's see how it works out. If I screw it up, I can always sand it off. I bought a bigger doohickey as well. I bought this concave thing. I think this is probably gonna, I don't know how well this is going to do. I got it in my head about the folding method to prevent air and whatnot yesterday. I just got that in my head and I ended up with just a big old mess, me trying to do it professionally. I'm just going to get this stirred up here the best way I can and get it on the truck and not worry too much about perfection, because that's just not going to happen. All right, that's good. Let's go for it. First coat is gonna get down in there, hopefully. Not looking too good. I may have to do it all over again, I'm not sure. Great, I've got red ink from this cheap-ass tool from the parts house in the stuff now. Trying to film and do that at the same time is really nerve-wracking for me, so I elected not to. Let's just let that dry, and we'll just see how it goes. And if I screwed it up, I'll try again. The sheet metal that goes up to the latch area kind of has this convex thing going on like here. So this metal here is lower than that part right there. You have this thing going on and you have that thing. It's a double curve. It's a kind of a compound curve thing. And so you got that going on and you got that going on. So it might be a little challenge for me to block sand that, but anyway, I'm going to go ahead and block sand this when it sets up and then see how well we did. All right, we'll be back here in just a little bit. Well, while we're waiting on the body filler to set up, we'll go through what we got here for the Corvette motor. Went and got a filter. That's a PF 454 for a Chevy small block. And I want to show you what I got from Summit. So this is an oil pan gasket from Felpro. And, you know, what do you notice about that package right there? And what do you notice about this box? So this oil pan gasket was in here like that. Now, whoever packaged it thought that was a great idea. They didn't kink the gasket completely. It's okay, but it's just, you know what, Summit? Don't do that. That's stupid. You put this in a long box, okay? I know you wanted to save money because there was other parts and everything. I get it, but you know, 2 boxes or a longer box, you know, I'd be willing to pay for a little better packaging than that. So anyway, got our oil pan gasket here. Here's the updated intermediate shaft for the small block oil pump. And this little guy right here comes in lieu of the standard one that comes stock, right? So this would slip over the end of the shaft, and this would slip over the pump, and that's what would hold the shaft onto the pump. This piece of plastic inside your Chevy small block, that's just whatever. You know, not happening. This is, so I bought the updated design. It's got a little roll pin in there. And of course your standard small block Chevy oil pump from Melling. This is just the standard volume, standard pressure pump. There's no reason to put a high volume, high pressure pump in this engine because it's not a race motor. We don't have non-standard bearings. If you had non-standard bearings that had a lot of you know, space between them, then you'd want to have a high volume pump, but we don't need all that. How does this box open here? I thought I opened this yesterday. Oh yeah. All right, so, and then we got the new screen as well. This is a press fit into the pump. They make a tool to press fit in there. I'll figure out some kind of way to press fit that into the pump. A lot of guys will put a little tack weld here when they put this into the pump. Not sure I'm going to do that. The original one never came out, so you know, we'll just see what happens here. Anyway, that's the oil pump stuff. And before we put the oil pump on, well, I guess along with the oil pump, you got this windage tray that bolts to the top of the bearing caps there. Not into a bearing cap, but there's extra bolts in there that holds this on the bottom of the engine. So I need to go ahead and clean this guy up here, and we'll get this bolted onto the bottom of the engine along with the new pump. All right, we've got about 20 or 30 minutes on this first application. It's got some 100 grit. Let's go ahead and do a basic block sand here and see how well we do. Didn't want to spend any more money on sandpaper. I may need to go get some 80. So I can use the left-hand side as an example to go by, because like I said, it's got that compound curve in it. Of course, I got a little high spot right there where the dimple was now. So my goal is to recreate that as best I can. Try to knock down that center. Man, I think we're doing pretty good. Just got to keep working at it here. Looks pretty good at the eyeballs, but I had a pronounced dip right there. I could feel the transition between there. But I think we're nearly there. You know what? But this part down here needs to come down because there's some pretty jagged edges down there, but that's not where the dent was. I can take all that out. This looks pretty good. I think that's about as good as I can get it. I do begin to see that concave, I guess you might call it, action. If I go look over here from the end, you know, the tailgate has that curvature, this outward curvature. Basically, it's a Pringles potato chip. You know what I'm saying? Because it has to rise up to get to the edge of this latch hole here. Hell, I think I'm just gonna call that good. Hell yeah. All right, let's go ahead and blow this mess off of here. And by the way, all sanding, grinding, and whatnot for the time being is going to be done outside because I got a engine block inside that needs to stay clean. That's going to stay wrapped up in plastic, so that's why I'm out here doing this. All right, I'll be back. Let me blow this thing off here and start getting ready to put some primer on this thing. Man, that 180 on that DA is just, goodness gracious, that's just pretty. I can't believe how well that turned out. If you screw something up, just back out, get some sleep, start over. You know, things will work out. I'm pleased with that. Of course, you know, if I get paint on it, it may look like a wart. I don't know. But for right now, you know, that looks pretty okay. All right, that's after a one wipe down with the Duplicolor cleaner here. So I'm gonna give it a second wipe down. All right, up next, time for some primer. All right, you can hear the cicadas out in the woods. That's that low whistle you hear. It's going on again today. I would imagine it's going to go on for several weeks. You know, they hadn't had a good party in about 17 years, so we're going to give them a little leeway. You know what I'm saying? If you didn't know, if you're not from this part of the world, cicadas are an insect about yay long, and they live in the ground and stay. Well, they don't live in the ground. They stay there. They like germinate or whatever the hell they do. They stay down there for 17 years, and at the end of that time, they come up and they breed. So, and then they die. That's kind of basically how that goes. Anyway, so I got some leftover primer. This came from paintscratch.com. This is not just rattle can you get from the store. This is automotive grade stuff that a body shop would use. It's just in a rattle can. Got a little dust coat there. We'll let that flash off, and then we'll gradually get a little heavier as we go here. All right, I've got about 3 or 4 coats of primer on there. Hell, I may just give up my day job. That turned out pretty well. None of these rednecks around here will notice it. Well, yeah, they will notice it this way, but you know, I'm talking about after I paint it, clearly, so. All right, let me tell you a little something. I'm not sponsored by these people, the paintscratch.com people, but man, let me tell you what, if you got a small project, and this is the way to go. This is real automotive grade paint. It's just in a rattle can. It goes on smooth. It lays down flat and even. It's easy to work with. High build. It's flexible. And it's just, man, it's just like butter. You know, I don't say this very often, but I'm genuinely proud of that. This is basically the first time I've done any kind of body work since literally the late 1980s. You guys might find this somewhat comical. I had a 1982 Chevrolet Citation. They're basically gone now because they were such junk heaps. And I had to do a little body work on it. That was the last time I did any body work, literally the late 1980s. So, well, anyway, we went with Evercoat Body Shop Pro Grade Premium Filler. Don't put too much hardener in there. You'll be wishing you hadn't. So that worked out pretty well. We used the Paint Scratch Primer as well. We got the Baxter DA from Harbor Freight with a 180 grit on there. And we did a block sanding with 100 grit with a nice rubber flat block. And we used the Duplicolor grease and wax remover to clean up everything as we went along. Well, anyway, that was the basic process. If you don't know anything about bodywork, like me, I had to just do a bunch of research and figure out each of the steps. So that's basically how I came to this conclusion. But again, I tell you what, I am genuinely proud of that. Well, that's enough body work for one weekend. Let's move on to something else. All right, so up next we got to make a oil pump screen installation tool. I saw a guy on YouTube use a 5/8 open end wrench, an old one, and he welded a shaft to it, and he used that. You can go buy the milling tool. It's about $105. You can go buy an El Cheapo tool for, I don't know, 20 or 30. But I'm gonna go with what I got here at the shop, and I'm gonna make my own. But I'm gonna do it a little differently. I'm gonna double up on the old cheap ass wrenches that I had laying around. One of them was already cut. I don't know what I was doing with that, but and then this one here is like really old. It's ancient beyond belief. So we're gonna tack weld these up. I'm gonna cut the heads off and finish welding up. Then we're gonna weld a shaft to it. My ground isn't that good. It's popping on me. But it doesn't really matter a whole lot. We'll turn down the heat on the welder and see how well that does. I may have it too hot. Yeah, I had my gas set up too high. I mean, I had my electricity set too high. All right, we'll let that cool down. We'll take it outside. We're going to lop off the heads of these wrenches here. And then we'll bring it back in here and finish up the welding. And I got to find a suitable shaft to weld to this thing. I got some stuff down here in the scrap metal bin. Let me see what I can dig up. All right, we're back. What better use of a former Corvette tie rod than to serve as the oil pump screen installation tool for the Corvette? And a couple of old 5/8 inch open end wrenches. And we're going to weld that just like that. And that'll give us a nice broad area to hammer on. Not that it'll require a whole lot of hammering, but anyway, you get the point. So let's get after it. First thing I want to do is I want to finish welding up the back side of this. All right, let me put a welding glove here on this hand. I don't want to get sunburned. All right, we might have to tweak it a little bit, do a little filing and grinding and whatnot, but that's the general idea. There you go. Small block Chevy oil pump screen installation tool. Handmade right here in Impalaman's garage. Here is the finished product. This is our small block Chevy oil pump screen installation tool. And you'll have to forgive me. You know how I enjoy a little bit of bling now and again. So instead of the usual satin black or gloss black, I opted for the gold. And I'll have these for sale on my website for $599.99. So you can have yours too. Just give me a jingle and we'll set you up. All right, let's see if this prototype is going to fit on this screen. Oh yeah, like a glove. That's going to work out really well. The way you put the screen in the pump is you hold it on the bench with your hand and hold this like this and you tap it in there. You don't ever put the pump in a vise. That's a no-no. But in the end we may put a little tack weld on the pump screen to hold it into the pump. So the pump installation process itself is somewhat elaborate. You have to take some measurements from the pump to the bottom of the oil pan, position the pump and the screen in there, just so make some paint marks on the screen and the pump, right? And then take it off, take it back over to your bench, pound the screen into the pump, aligning your paint marks, tack weld it, reinstall it back into the engine. So that's the basic process, but I'm not going to do that today. So I want to save the pump installation for when all of the other engine parts get here. The top end kit is on order. I didn't order the top end kit until just recently because I wanted to make sure that the engine block was good to go before I ordered any expensive engine parts. So I'm going to wait till everything gets here and then we'll start putting this engine together. So and meanwhile that oil pump's going to sit in the box. But I've got a tool to install it. So for this weekend, I think we're going to call this a video, folks. I appreciate you guys stopping by the channel. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you'd like to be notified whenever I release a new video, don't forget to click that little bell down below. You guys have a good one, and remember to enjoy taking care of and restoring your classic car, because one day they might be very rare, and they might even be gone if we don't. So basically, you, me, everybody, we're all just, especially the car people, right? We're all just curators of this automotive history. So keep that in mind when you're working on your old car. You guys have a good one, and we'll see you very soon.